a little older than I, but I knew she lived in Albany. And I often wonder if I would ever talk to her because I wasn't as blessed as I am today with being able to go where I want to go and get my own way around. So I did, have to rely on, someone else maybe. And hopefully I say like if I can meet her or talk to her, which she, while I was up there in New Jersey, if I could get my way to Albany, could she take me to Saratoga? Well, I called my uncle, it was her father, and he's my late uncle, he's passed away now. And I asked him, I said, hey, what do you think she would think? I'm just, I've never talked to her before. We know of each other, but what is she going? How is she going to react when I get in touch with her and say, "Hey, how you doing? I'm your cousin. That we talk, a lot. I mean, that we know of each other, but we've never talked. But I want to go to Saratoga. Do you go?" And she was so nice. She was like, couldn't believe it. She was like, "Yeah, I go to Saratoga sometimes." She lived in Albany, like I say, for 30 years until she moved back to Louisiana. But at that time, she was so open for me to come, and so we made plans and whatnot for me to come up there. And it was really funny. I want to throw this in there too. Remember, I've never seen her before in my life and only talked to her that one time. And she told me when I got to the airport what to do. Now, because she was working at that time, and by the time my flight landed, she was not going to be home. And she was a single woman, didn't have any a husband or kids in the house. So it was just basically her. So once again, I get to Albany. I fly. I make my reservations and whatnot. I fly to, and this would happen to be Travers weekend too, by the way. I fly. It's 1991. The winner of that race was Corporate Report for Dean Wayne Lucas and Chris McCarron. And I remember getting to Albany Airport, and the aircraft did not pull up to the gate because I don't know. I was on a Delta, and we just kind of sat on the tarmac. And it was like you say, 1991. Not it is, Albany is not even a big airport today, but it's much more advanced than 1991. But I'm thinking that maybe they just didn't have the room, and they brought the old portable stairs out, and it began to storm. It was storming. They had to give us umbrellas as we got off the stairwell, the portable stairwells, and made our way across the tarmac, maybe about 100 or 150-yard walk, getting soaked by a typical upstate New York downpour. I go running into the terminal. When I finally get in there, I was soaked. I had to go dry myself off. I had never seen it rain in my life so quickly. Got into the terminal, did what I had to do. My cousin gave me instructions on to take a taxi cab, where the taxi cab was to take me. And when I got there, she told me where the key was. The key was in the not alleyway, I want to say the walkway where her trash cans were, under a particular trash can. I picked up the key, went in the house. She had food that was already there. All I had to do was take it out of the refrigerator, put it in the microwave, got and started eating, did what I had to do, got comfortable. She had a very, very nice little condo. She was, like I say, she was at work, and I was so nervous when she was trying to, she would come home, and I saw her, I was looking out every 10 minutes going, man, what I'm going to say, this just feels kind of weird. But she came in, made me feel so comfortable, and all she talked about was Saratoga. She's like, yeah, so our plan was to go to Saratoga that next day, which was Travers Day. And she took me to Saratoga, my first time going to Saratoga, and I was just blown away. I've been seeing it on TV, and just to, pull up and just see that venue, it just, even though that was my first time, it just gave me chills, goosebumps, whatever kind of cliche you want to use. That was me in 1991 on Travers Day at the spa. So it turned out to be a good day. I liked Corporate Report. I even caught a nice little double that particular day. It didn't pay a whole lot, but I had a $10 or $15 double on it, and really it just was it allowed me to kind of play the whole day. When the Travers came, it was pretty much, partly cloudy the duration, most of the day. And I started hearing rumbling, right? Like, because you have to understand this. In Southern California or Northern California, where we live, it doesn't rain just out the blue. The rain has to form up. It takes like all day to form up. It can't just be, blue or even 30% blue 1 hour and then rain the next. It doesn't work like that in California. It's a gradual buildup that sometimes takes over 24 hours for it to precipitate. So when I heard that thunder in the foreground or the background, I'm like, are you serious? A nice day that we had weather-wise, and it's getting ready to rain. And the race before the Travers, even though there was still a lot of blue in the sky, the riders were coming out in like, the pants, the trousers, the wet trousers, and their goggles had, plastic on them. I'm like, it's actually getting ready to rain. When the horses came out for the Travers, they ended up running it on the fast track, but there was a little rain before. So it was one of those situations to where it was listed fast, but, there was some moisture in the track. So that was my first experience, not only with Saratoga, but on Travers Day. So like I said, weather is a big factor there. Most of the time, believe it or not, you're going to get fast and firm. I've been coming there for, you do the math, 1991 to 2021. That is literally 30 years. I've been to Saratoga in the last, let's say 30 years. I didn't go in 2020, of course. I did not go in 2013. And I did not go in 2002, the year Medaglia d'Oro won. And the year 2013, that was the year Will Take Charge won. I could not go for other reasons, but every other year, I have never missed a Travers Day. And this year in 2021, obviously, I'm going to try to stick to that tradition as well. So, like I said, it is sometimes it's a handicap and nightmare because you don't know the weather, but it is Saratoga, and that is part of the folklore. Directly across the street from Saratoga is the thoroughbred horse racing National Museum, or in other words, the Hall of Fame. And what other better place can the Hall of Fame be put except for at Saratoga? It was meant to be there. It's very inexpensive to get in there. I think I've been in there 4 times. I've taken people from out of town who's never been there, and I believe that the admission price is still somewhere around $15 or less. It's going to take you about 2 to 3 hours if you want to see and really spend time in there. If you whiz through it, you can get through there in an hour. But they have all kind of neat things. It's not as big as the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's not as big as the Basketball Hall of Fame. I've been to Cooperstown. It's probably about the same size as Cooperstown, if not bigger. But it's a must-see. Like I say, the price is less than $15. I would highly recommend, if it's your first time at Saratoga, to visit the Hall of Fame. It's directly across the street from the track. Now, a quick story about the Hall of Fame. Back, I think it was in 07, maybe 06, that former jockey at the time, current jockey, Jerry Bailey, was over there signing autographs for his book, which I ended up purchasing. And when I went over there, Jerry was sitting there, and there was really nobody there. I guess he'd been over there, maybe the last 2 or 3 days, maybe all week. And, I guess maybe, people had, the exhaustive people had probably went through there. And I came through there, and, I bought the book, and I still have the book, like I said, that he signed within the cover, and he asked me what my name was, and I told him, and he's put in there best wishes, Kenny and Motri and whatever, and that was cool. So, you know, that was literally, I think post time was, I think post, I don't know if that was Travers Day. It might have been the day before, because Travers Day post time is usually noon. That might have been, it might have been Travers Day, but yeah, it was about 11 o'clock when I went over there. So like I said, just across the street, went in there, I had seen everything in there. Maybe that was my second or third time in the Hall of Fame. So after that, I immediately walked across the street into the spot that I have, and the first race starts at noon. So the horses are coming on the track at 10 minutes to 12. And Jerry Bailey's on a horse in the first race, believe it or not. And I'm standing at my spot, and, I know he see a lot of people, and, I don't think, just even though it was just an hour and a half ago, he's thinking about what he has to do on this horse. And he's not thinking about me. And he comes by and he winks his eye at me, goes, "What you say, Kenny?" Just like that. I mean, I just thought that was a cool thing. And people who are with say, "Damn, that's cool." It was just, an hour ago, but still, that's pretty something, something that you can really remember. So that's my memory of coming from the Hall of Fame on racing day, which happened to be Travers Day. So as far as the races itself is concerned at Saratoga, the stake races, denoted on an average of one stake a day. That's what Saratoga is about. Like I say, it's going to begin on Thursday, July 15th, and the very first stake race on that day is going to be the Quick Call. It's a 5.5 furlong sprint on grass for 3-year-olds. And it's just kind of like a mouth-watering little taste of what's to come later in the meet. The Schuylerville is a nice 2-year-old grade 3 race on the main track for 2-year-old fillies. And it's a feeder into races later in the meet, like the... Got to stop me for a second. I'm doing this off the top of like the Spinaway, I should say. So, like I say, the Schuylerville is a feeder race into the Spinaway later on into the meet. And then on opening Saturday, you have the Sanford, which is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it is the oldest race that run at Saratoga. It rivals the tradition as far as being a number of years run to the Travers. So it is a very older, prestigious race. And obviously it's a feeder into other 2-year-old stake races that this particular meet, including the closing day, the prestigious Hopeful at Saratoga. So those are the two races for 2-year-olds, for fillies and coats, that will be, showcased during the first week. The Diana is a grade 1. It's the first grade 1 on grass. It's a $500,000 added for 4-year-olds and up, fillies and mares. That is a race to look forward to, especially on opening weekend. So, like I said, you come all the way down. You have the Jim Dandy will be run, which is the traditional prep for the Travers. The Jim Dandy is a race to where it hasn't been a lot of runners over the years who've won the Jim Dandy and the Travers. Now, mind you, a lot of horses don't run in both. And a lot of times, if you're pointing toward the Travers, you're using the Jim Dandy for the old dreaded prep race, which, I don't like. But, there are a lot of runners who, run in the Jim Dandy or that are not really Travers, kind of like traditional horses that you think that's going to be prominent in the Travers. So a lot of times, just as Jim Dandy was himself as a runner, as being upsetting, the Travers at odds of 100-1, there have been a lot of, let's say long shots, horses with prices that have won the Jim Dandy and then went on to the Travers and have not performed well. Because a lot of times, like I say, a lot of Travers runners use the Jim Dandy, if they use it at all, for just kind of like, a run around the track to get a hold of Saratoga's very, very tricky strip. The Whitney is the signature handicap race of the meet for older horses. it, it's been